1K brought up an interesting question earlier. Where did all the tech in the labs come from? So, I had a look at the serial numbers. And it turns out the answer is New Alexandria.
Oh.
Wow, I guess that makes sense. After the explosion, the colony was abandoned. Nobody ever went back for all that stuff.
We had enough to deal with. So many dead.
So that's one question answered. But how did they go from scavenged Alexandria tech to all this?
How did we go from nothing to where we are now? Through the application of reason and the right tools.
Look at the size of that structure.
How does the material support so much weight? Is it the same stuff as the other buildings?
Yeah. I know it looks like some type of concrete, but the molecular structure is completely different. Whatever it is, it's a lot stronger and less brittle.
Are the labs made out of the same material?
No, that's just ordinary concrete, although it does have some molecular weirdness going on too. Too little variation in the grain.
Just when I thought we'd found all the weird stuff.
So, humanity is great. I really believe that, and that's why I'm here. But I have to be honest with you, individual people, not always my favorite. I'm not the smartest guy ever, and I know that. But there are some people, man, some people are just so dumb. I don't even know if they're actually conscious. Sometimes I think their whole lives might be like a dream. They're just stumbling around, no idea what's going on, mumbling some random nonsense. And the thing that you have to understand about our time period is that a lot of these people wield enormous power. They run whole countries and corporations. Yeah, that's right. We've handed over our civilization to people I wouldn't trust to tie their own shoelaces. And if they're dumb, then what are we? I don't honestly have an answer to that, so just please try to do better.
I can't stop thinking about Miranda. A new person not born in New Jerusalem? Can you imagine that? I wonder what it's like to be her. I suppose that depends on how many other people were here, but you might be right. This place is huge, but it feels empty. They're very different from the rest of these structures in that they serve a clear purpose. Everything else is kind of surreal, but the labs are places where people lived and worked. I don't know what that means, but I think it means something.
Let us consider the city. What is a city? It is not a gift from the gods, nor the product of nature. Unlike a mountain or a river, it is something that must be built through the deliberate arrangements of material by a mind imposing order on the world. And it is built to serve a purpose. To that end, it has roads and fountains and walls. And to the same end, it has laws and leaders. And though each city is built according to a different plan, all cities must serve their purpose, or they will fall and become ruins. Therefore, we may conclude that a city is also a kind of machine, constructed to improve the life of its citizens.
I think about New Alexandria all the time. But realizing this place was built on its bones just brings it all back even more. We were so optimistic when we started. So full of ourselves. We thought we could accomplish anything. And then, in one single moment, it was all gone. I remember a flash, and then just lying there, realizing that my legs had melted. I tried to pull myself away from the fire, but the servos in my arms were broken. If Eustathius hadn't found me, sorry. Just some old scars. What can I do for you, 1K? It's pretty clear to me that she doesn't want us to proceed with what we're doing. I find that deeply concerning. That said, there are clearly other forces at play here as well, so I'm trying my best to remain open to a more positive interpretation. It could be. Or we've just stumbled into something that's none of our business. We'll find out, I guess.
When we go to New Jerusalem, I'm going to have a cat. He's going to be black and white, and his name is going to be Bean. And I'm going to make sure that he never gets sick, and he never gets old, and he'll be my best friend forever.
Every one of these clouds seems to contain exactly the same amount of energy.
The wheel turns, but without the road, it cannot move.
sent the drone to have a look at one of the other puzzle clusters. It seems they remain inert until they're connected. I uploaded the pictures to the log.
Should we check them out with the VTOL?
Let's conserve fuel as much as we can. There's no point in going there if it's all dead.
The rotting remains of the old world should fill me with melancholy. Even here on this remote island, our ancestors could not escape their fate. And yet, I find there is something pathetic about these ruins that evokes anger and even contempt. I feel it is a mistake to accept this catastrophe with equanimity. What we see here should offend us. When witnessing this triumph of entropy, we should aspire to a warrior spirit, even a kind of hate of the past and its failures that will never allow such a thing to happen again.
Every site we've investigated has had one of these labs, but they seem primitive compared to some of the technology we're seeing above ground.
Are we even sure that the labs and the puzzles belong to the same people?
There seems to be a connection between the experimental setups in the labs and some of the puzzle technology.
Correlation does not necessarily imply causation, though.
True. But just because we don't understand the connection, that doesn't mean it's not there. What we have here is two things that reflect each other. We just don't understand how that reflection works or what causes it.
Maybe Miranda can tell us.
Wow, that one was a mind bender.
There's so much to discover on this island that sometimes it overwhelms me. Every lake, every forest contains an incredible, interconnected, permanently changing network of organisms. And every one of those organisms is almost infinitely complex and contains other organisms within itself. It seems impossible to ever really grasp. But then, step by step, I do understand. It takes time and effort, but it's not impossible. And there's a lot of joy to be found in simply taking the time to truly study something. I spent 5 years studying a single flower, and it never got boring.
Hey there, 1K. We made two fatal mistakes in New Alexandria. One was trusting the texts of our ancestors without thinking for ourselves. The other was giving up instead of doubling down, letting the tragedy define our future.
What is it? New Alexandria. What a mess. It was an attempt to start a new city, but it went about as sideways as it goes. Gas explosion, more than 30 dead, unrecoverable. Al was there for the whole thing. Because the whole place was abandoned. Byron insisted that we had to rebuild, but for the survivors, it was just too traumatic to deal with. So I guess that stuff was just lying around for someone to pick up.
False idols are worshipped not because they are idols, but because they are false. True idols are rejected because the truth is feared.
When the craftsman Daedalus was imprisoned in the very labyrinth he had created, his only solace was his son, Icarus. To escape their plight, he fashioned wings of feathers and wax. He warned his son to fly neither too high nor too low, but his son, enraptured by the freedom of flight, flew too close to the sun. Thus the wax in his wings melted, and he fell to his death. What was the sun's error? matters the substance of his wings if the sky was not meant for him? After the death of his son, Daedalus withdrew in sorrow to a foreign land. King Minos came looking for the craftsman to exact his revenge. The answer to a riddle revealed where Daedalus dwelled. But for Minos, that answer was his ruin. Consider King Minos, burned in his bath, as you seek your own answer.
The megastructure, it's opening.
3 receivers, 3 towers, 3 beams, as we suspected. I think this is an invitation.
Doesn't look that inviting to me.
If you consider the size of the entire structure, then that opening must be big enough to drive a building through.
Or the VTOL.
You want us to go in there, into the creepy triangular maw of death?
More of death? I think it looks charming.
Byron's right. We're here to explore, and this is a mystery worth investigating. This technology could change everything.
Oh, all right. I'm not winning this, am I?
Nope. Let's meet up with the VTOL, everybody. We're going in.